p.m. We'll call this meeting of the Common Council to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag, Nation of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Clerk, roll call has been taken.
Yes.
All right, we move on to the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made by Barrington, second by Mr. Dorsey. Is there any additions or corrections? All right, then we will, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, approval of the July 13th, 2021 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Zog, seconded by Mr. Herter. Any additions or corrections to that? With none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, moving on to authorization to pay the bills. Mr. Dorsey.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to move to authorization to pay the bills in the amount of $1,186,789.63.
Second.
We have a motion and second by Mr. Zog to pay the bills in the amount of $1,186,789.63. Any additions or corrections? Please cast your ballots. Motion carried by all. Move on, public comment. All right, hearing none, we will move to standing and special committees. We'll start off with the Board of Public Works, Mr. Barrington.
We had no meeting in August, and so therefore there is no report tonight.
Easy enough. Thank you, Mr. Barrington. Move on, Finance and Personnel, Mr. Dorsey.
Yes, Your Honor. Finance and Personnel Committee met Wednesday, August 4th at 4:30. Members present were Dorsey, Fichet, Barrington, Roberts, and Besaw. The meeting was called to order. Motion was made by Barrington and seconded by Besaw to approve the amended agenda, carried 10-0. Ann Hunt, Library Director, presented the 2022 Library Annex Budget. There was a discussion on the movement of salary, wages, and benefits to cover the additional building costs and the hiring of part-time employees that would fill the need of the additional employees for the proposed annex building. Finance Director Adke went through an example of the tax implication of a referendum and how it would affect the tax rate and tax paid. A motion was made by Fichet and seconded by Besaw to recommend to council approval of the working foreman park division job description on a temporary basis. Carried 10-0. A motion was made by Besaw and seconded by Fichet to recommend to council approval of the working foreman street division job description on a temporary basis. Carried 10-0. Finance Director Adke reviewed the monthly financial reports. Finance Director's report was discussed. There being no public comment or further business, a motion was made by Barrington and seconded by Fichet to adjourn at 5:19. Carried 10-0. The next regularly scheduled Finance Committee meeting will be held in the council chambers on September 8th at 4:30. Need approval of the license list.
So moved.
Motion been made by Dorsey, seconded by Mr. Herter for approval of license list. Any additions or corrections to that, or further discussion, I should say? All right, please cast your ballots. Hold 1 second, please.
Sorry about that.
Ready?
Sorry.
There you go.
Do that all the time.
Motion carried by all.
Make a motion of approval of the working foreman park division job description.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded by Mr. Fichet. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion carried unanimously.
So make a motion for the approval of the working foreman street division job description.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded by Mr. Barrington for approval of working foreman, street division job description. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion carried, 10-0.
Also make a motion for the consideration of the developers agreement with Raningrid LLC and Ingrid LLC.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded by Mr. Herter for consideration of developers agreement with Raningrid LLC and Ingrid LLC. Any further discussion on that? Please cast your ballots. One more time, Fred. Thank you, sir. Motion carried by all.
That is all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. Next up is Park and Recreation, Mr. Besaw.
Thank you, Your Honor. Park and Rec meeting met on Tuesday, August 3rd. Meeting was called to order at 4:45. Esau made motions, all moved to approve the agenda. Motion was carried by all. Public comment relevant to items on the agenda, there was none presented. Discussion of maintenance and/or replacement of the Hatton Park wall. The committee discussed some of the challenges with acquiring accurate bids for the repair of the wall, as portions of the wall in different conditions, as the repair of the wall is different in different conditions. Members noted that the wall is a historical monument and very important to the community. The committee agreed to hold a public forum to educate the community on the project in order to gather community input on how they would like to see the project move forward. Mayor Herter suggested creating a subcommittee to gather complete details, including repair, replacement options, with costs to be shared at the public forum. That will be brought to the next committee meeting. No motion was made at this time. Sculptures in the park. Tony Hendrickson, Wolf River Art League member, displayed an example of a sculpture idea and shared other community park models of park art sculptures to be placed in the city of New London's parks. The committee asked that the artwork be created to symbolize the city of New London and for a future plan with examples of sketches to bring to a future meeting. No motion was made at this time. Boat launch project update and discussion on kayak launch fees. Luke Hammonds, interim Public Works Director, updated the committee on the replacement boat launch docks. Ginger Arndt led a discussion on launch fees in response to social media comments about fees for launching kayaks. She noted that surrounding communities' fees vary and most require an annual sticker or a daily ticket to be placed on the driver's side corner of the windshield, which makes it easy view for the police department on issuing violations. Many other locations have policy that one launch fee per vehicle is charged even if multiple kayaks are brought to the site in that vehicle. There was a variety of suggestions from the committee. It was suggested to draft a fee policy for the launch after reviewing suggestions and looking at the current revenue to present at the next meeting. No motion was made at this time. Director's report memo. The director's memo was included in the agenda packet and was reviewed by the committee. Years of service. Bob Cupp, senior transit driver, will complete 2 years of service on August 5th. Michelle Lambrick, public service administrative assistant, will complete 4 years of service on August 14th. Mike Buckman will complete his last workday as parks caretaker on August 5th. We are very grateful for Mike's knowledge and work ethic and will miss him. Chairman's report none presented. Committee members report none presented. Upcoming past events. Join the Recreation, Police, and Fire Department for National Night Out tonight, August 3rd, 2021, between the municipal buildings and the police department. They had a great turnout for that. Future agenda items discussed regarding tennis courts. Future park tour. Special event permits to include food truck guidelines. Outagamie Court Plan update, Mountain Bike Park. Lauren Dick, Outagamie Parks Division Director, October agenda. Discuss next month's meeting date, Tuesday, September 7th, 2021, immediately following Board of Public Works. There being no future discussion, Richie moved to adjourn. Fache made motion, seconded. Move to adjourn at 5:45. Motion was carried by all. All I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Besaw. Would you continue on with the Planning Commission?
Calling, excuse me. The Planning Commission met on Thursday, July 22nd. The meeting was called to order by Chairman Besaw at 5:02. The motion was made by Gabbard to adopt the agenda and seconded by Steingraber. Motion was carried by all. The June 30, 2021 minutes were reviewed and approved after 2 corrections were made. The day listed was Thursday, June 30th, 2021, amended to read Wednesday, June 30th, 2021. Also, the time listed that Jamie Walbrook left the meeting stated at 5:25, amended to read 6:25. After the correction was noted, a motion to accept the minutes with 2 corrections was made by Gabbard and seconded by Steingraber. It was carried by all. A motion was made to open a public hearing regarding the proposed projects, boundaries, and creation of a TID, Tax Increment District Number 3. The motion was made by Bassett and seconded by Walbrook. The audience was required to engage in dialogue, but after 3 queries and no responses, the motion was made to close the public hearing. Motion was made by Gabbard and seconded by Steingraber to close the public hearing, carried by all. A motion was made to open a public hearing regarding the proposed projects, boundaries, and create a TID, Tax Increment District Number 4, by Walbrook and seconded by Bassett. Motion was made by Walbrook and seconded by Bassett. The audience was cleared to engage in dialogue, but after 3 queries and no response, a motion was made by Walbrook and seconded by Steingraber to close the public hearing, was carried by all. Walbrook made a motion to create a resolution designating the proposed boundaries and approving a project plan for Tax Increment District Number 3. That'll be brought to council. The motion was seconded by Gabbard and is carried by all. Bassett made a motion to create a resolution designating the proposed boundaries and approving a project plan for Tax Increment District Number 4. That'll be brought to council also. The motion was seconded by Walbrook and motion carried with Steingraber abstaining from the vote. A mural package was shared with the commission. After a lengthy discussion, 5 out of the 6 recommendations were approved. Mayor Herder made a motion to approve 5 of the 6, and the motion was seconded by Steingraber, was carried by all. A review of future agenda items was discussed. The next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for Thursday, August 26th at 5 o'clock. A motion was made to adjourn by Gabbard, seconded by Steingraber, carried by all. The meeting adjourned at 6:16. I would look for council's approval, approving a project plan for Tax Increment District Number 3.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded for consideration and possible action on resolution creating tax increment district number 3, approving its project plan and establishing its boundaries. We have Mr. Phil in the back, if you'd like to say anything more.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Phil Costa, Mayor Ellers. We've been in the process of working with the city on creation of both tax increment district number 3 and 4. I know the project plans are in your packet. Be happy to answer any questions. Maybe, Mayor, if it's okay with you, I try to give a quick summary of each without diving into all the numbers, unless people would like that. I'd be happy to do that as well. But I wanted to give you kind of a big picture, a look at why we're doing both of these tax increment districts, what the benefit is to the city in both cases as well. So as I indicated, this has been going on. We've been working with city staff and these 2 different developers on these different tax increment districts for a number of months. There is, maybe I'll step back a sec, and there is a process, as you can imagine, when you create a tax increment district. I know not everybody here probably has gone through this process to this extent, but there's 3 approvals that are needed to create a tax increment district. Approval number 1 is been done already. Plan Commission on July 22nd held a public hearing and then adopted a resolution which forwarded on to the Common Council these 2 tax increment districts. Tonight, is vote number 2. If you are comfortable with the project plan and comfortable with the boundaries, then there's a resolution, corresponding resolution, that you would act upon tonight that would approve the project plan and boundaries, and then that would forward it on to what's called the Joint Review Board. And the Joint Review Board is scheduled to meet on August 25th. They organized already. The Joint Review Board is a member of the school district, county, technical college, representative from the city, and then a public member. That 5-member group will meet on August 25th for final vote. And you need to have approval from all 3 votes to be able to have a tax increment district in place. Once it is approved, if you get through that process, everything gets filed with the Department of Revenue, and then they will certify essentially the tax increment district and establish the tax increment district. So that's procedurally where we are in the process. So TID number 3, I know there's a series of maps and such in the project plan. If you think about TID number 3, it's really downtown, and the site that has been for sale for quite a while by the city along the riverfront. There's been a host of developers that have come forward. There's cities in actively working on a development agreement with SC Swiderski to develop 44 units of development on that site. Through a development agreement negotiation, they have committed to a minimum value guarantee of around, not finalized, about $4.5 million at this point. We expect then that the tax increment district will go south on Pearl Street, pick up some of the businesses down in that area with the hope to be able to assist with public infrastructure along Pearl Street. And then also parking in both the downtown and on Pearl Street. So the arrangement right now, and it's tentative still, is that we would have a development agreement with SC Swiderski that would have Swiderski the city would provide an incentive to them to move the utilities that are currently on the site, the development site. They need to be moved to better match the layout of the development that's being proposed. So there's a significant cost in doing that. That would be essentially the incentive that would be provided to them in return for them to develop roughly $4.5 million in new development. In addition to that, we have identified project costs downtown and project costs along Pearl Street, and additional parking in both downtown and along Pearl Street. So the benefit in creating the tax increment district is to really entice the developer. Again, there's been a variety of developers that have come forward. City has not been able to put together a final agreement, close on this one, to generate new housing in the downtown area. And in return for that, you actually will receive some public infrastructure dollars available for, again, downtown parking and for South Pearl Street over time. So in the project plan, we have laid that all out. We've identified potential development. We've identified potential expenditures in the project plan. So since this is relatively new to a lot of you, a couple of things tax increment district is not. One, it is not a situation where the individuals that are located within the tax increment district pay a different tax rate. The tax rate is exactly the same if you're inside or outside of a TIF district. It's what happens to the funds once they are collected. When you're in a tax increment district, the city retains the full amount of the tax bill. When you're outside of a tax increment district, the city receives their portion of the tax bill, roughly 20%, and the rest goes to the school, county, and technical college. So the power of TIF is that you're able to retain the full amount of the taxes on the new development to reinvest those dollars into the community. So that's really the power of TIF. So TIF is not a different tax rate. TIF is also not a situation where it'll have any impact on a property located within the district. There's no negative impact. It doesn't end up on your deed that you're in a tax increment district. All it would do is provide you with the ability to potentially, down the road, if you wanted to renovate your building, your business, sell your business, and maybe see a new development occur, there's the potential the city could participate in that and benefit those property owners. So there's upside to being in the tax increment district. There's really no downside to being in the district at all. So that's a very quick summary of tax increment district number 3. We do expect to see additional development. Talking with Judy and Chad, and where we're there's other sites that are being picked up in this district boundary that have the potential for redevelopment and development outside of just the Swiderski site. And as those develop, that'll increase the revenue that could be used again for public infrastructure costs that have been identified in the project plan. What you can't do in the tax increment district is just supplement normal operating budgets of a community. There are identified projects, and the monies really need to go to those projects. So there's a separate fund established, and that's where the money needs to go. So lastly, there are, again, we have a pretty comprehensive boundary already, but it's not a one-shot deal. We have the ability, if another project comes forward that's just outside the boundary, you actually have the ability to amend the boundaries of a district up to 4 times. So if you're a business close to this property or to this boundary, but you're not in, and you say, wait a minute, what if down the road, the city can still react to that and still has flexibility in the tax increment program to be able to address that. So think of this as really primarily a financing tool. That's primarily what it is, collecting revenue to be able to provide incentives, public infrastructure payments, those kind of things to help revitalize, continue to revitalize the city of New London. So that would be a quick summary of TIN number 3.
Thank you, Phil. Any further questions? All right, we have a motion and a second for possible action on resolution creating tax increment District 3, approving its project plan and establishing its boundaries. Please cast your ballots. Motion carried by all.
And I would also look for council to consider and possible action on resolution creating a tax increment district number 4, approving its project plan and establishing its boundaries.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded by Mr. Fichet for consideration and possible action on resolution creating tax increment District number 4, approving its project plan and establishing its boundaries. Any further questions on that one? Please cast your ballots.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Mr. Fichet. Motion carried by all. Thank you, Mr. Besaw.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. All right. Line item E, Economic Development Committee. Mr. Dorsey.
Thank you, Hunter. The New London Economic Development Committee met Tuesday, July 27th. Members present, Chairman Dorsey, Bishop, Fichet, Kapitsky, Olson, Thompson, Wolf, and Zog. The meeting was called to order at 4:30. Fichet, Zog approved the agenda, carried by all. The June 29, 2021 minutes were reviewed and approved by Kapitsky, Wolf, carried by all. Fourth informed the committee that he, Kapitsky, and Jeff Hanschke had some recent conversations regarding the cost of leasing retail space in New London. It was agreed that it would be beneficial for the city and the chamber to have a better idea what leasing rates currently are in the city. Kapitsky stated that Elena Wolf is going to be serving an internship with the New London Area Chamber and has shown interest in surveying the local retail businesses to create a report on rental rates in the city. Wolf will begin working on the project in the next few weeks. Wolf provided information to the committee regarding a conversation he had with Joel Furlow, President and COO of the Grand Oshkosh and Company, and how the nonprofit organization runs their facility, The Grand Oshkosh Theater is owned by the city of Oshkosh but leased to the nonprofit incorporation, which provides stage performances and rents out the facility for private functions. The nonprofit's operating budget is about $1.2 million per year and is funded by donation, food and beverage sales, ticket sales, and the city's local room tax. Other historic information about the Oshkosh Theater was provided to the committee. Museum Director Cross talked about the New London Grand and that it would be highlighted at an upcoming workshop sponsored by the Wisconsin Trust for Historic Preservation on September 17th and 18th. The workshop, titled Saving Wisconsin Historic Theaters, will feature stories from 7 area theaters which Cross has been invited to speak and provide the history on the New London Grand Theater. Kapitsky provided business updates. The owner of Change Up Vape, located at 316 Wapaka Street, has purchased and merged a business at the Bottle Shop, located at 303 South Shawano Street. The building name will remain as the Bottle Shop. CR Waterfront has been purchased by Sean Fraser from Kimberly and will operate the business as is. Domino's Pizza, currently at 316B Wolf River Plaza, plans on moving into the former Family Diner, 400 North Shawano Street. The building is currently being remodeled, and they plan on moving around the first of the year. Kapitsky is also working with 2 other businesses interested in acquiring or building or leasing space in the city. City Administrator's report. Orr stated that he recently met with the owner of Tuffy Boats, who reports his business is doing very well. However, he is experiencing issues with acquiring supplies. Staff continued to work on the 2024 downtown reconstruction project and held 2 open houses on July 14th to gain public input. 36 people attended the event, and staff continued to collect more feedback by posting the information on Facebook. The committee reviewed speakers and agenda items for future meetings. Public input, there was none. The next committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, August 31st, 2021 at 4:30. Zog and Shea moved to adjourn at 5:06. We have the WCEDC monthly report that's in your packets. And that is all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. We'll continue on with minutes and reports. Them will be considered standing as read as distributed in your packets. We'll move on to reports of officers and recent events and announcements to the public. Start off with the mayor's report. I'd like to thank everybody for a successful National Night Out. That was a great event. The yard was full out there, and it sounded like everybody had a great time. So I thank you from everybody to citizens, police department, fire department, and everybody else that I've forgot to mention. The other thing I'd like to remind everybody, I have office hours every Tuesday from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Otherwise by appointment, and just call the municipal building and we can get you an appointment scheduled. So thank you very much. We'll move on to the city administrator, Mr. Hirth.
Thank you, Your Honor. Want to let local business community know of some grant opportunities we're aware of. First of all is our downtown facade improvement program that the city offers. If any downtown businesses are planning on building improvements in the city, we have up to a $2,000 matching grant to assist with funding some of your exterior improvements. The grant is available on a first-come, first-served basis, and applicants can typically reapply every 5 years. The second one is a new one that just came out that we're aware of. The second one is a $10,000 Main Street Bounce Back Grant. It's offered by the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. The grant is used to assist new or existing businesses to move into a vacant commercial space. I know it's labeled a Main Street program, but from what I've been told, it is available for any building, in the community, whether it's any building in the community, whether it's vacated in the downtown, in the traditional downtown, or outside the downtown. So if anybody's looking at a vacant building, definitely get a hold of me, and I can steer you in the right direction to see if that's a grant opportunity. It's a $10,000 grant again. You might want to definitely consider that. As most people know, we're gearing up for the Habitat for Humanity Rock the Block event that's scheduled for September 16th through the 18th. Habitat for Humanity has just released information on their website to register to be a volunteer for the event. We don't have it on our Facebook page or our website yet. It is on the Habitat's website, but once they post information on their Facebook page, we'll share it to get the information out. So if anybody's looking at volunteering for that event, you can go to the Habitat for Humanity website and register to be a volunteer. And then lastly, as many people know, if you follow the city's happenings, you know that Casey Zempel, our previous video producer, had a great opportunity and moved his family to Florida, thus has opened up a very fun and creative position in our city. We are in the process right now of accepting applications for our next video and marketing producer. So if anyone has a talent with creating creative videos, writing witty scripts, and love talking to people, this may be a great job for you. Check out the position description online, as a deadline for accepting applications has been extended another week now, and is going to be on Sunday, August 22nd. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Chad. Move on to next line item, City Attorney. Mr. Waters, you have anything to add?
No, I do not, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Utility Manager, Mr. Bessett, you're up.
Thank you, Your Honor. The office had a problem with our July bills. The computer didn't adjust the PCAC charge to our customers' bills due to the rate increase. So customers will see that corrected adjustment on their next bill. The utilities has reached out to the Rock the Block organizers and would like to offer some LED bulb replacements donated by the utilities. Water crews replaced 4 of the 6 services on Werner Allen Road project. We also had hired Wood Construction to do some water main work at the intersection of Werner and Jennings. Some of the water main in that intersection was running diagonally and not correct on our map, so it needed to be relocated. Water crews also replaced 2 services, one on Beacon and one on Shawano Street, and a valve on Cook Street as part of that work continuing on Shawano Street. Municipal well replaced a shaft on well number 5. They had done some work on that and replaced a liner, and when they put it back together, there was a vibration problem. Now that has been corrected. On July 16th, we had 2 outages. One was a faulted piece of underground at 1706 Cardinal Street. The second was a fuse at 214 Spring Street. Crews went back to this location on July 24th to find the fuse blown again. They could not find the cause of those outages, and we decided to replace the transformer. Crews looked into and opened the cover to the transformer, and suspected that the cause of the problem was one of the bushings was heated, causing the fuse to blow. On July 28th, storms rolled through the area, and the utilities had no outages to report. On July 29th, I attended WPPI's 5-year business plan meeting in Kaukauna. Amcor office entrance number 5 had a cutout break, causing the industrial circuit to trip on August 1st. Crews replaced all 3 of the cutouts and re-terminated one of the damaged terminators. On August 9th, we had an alarm at Werner Sub transformer number 8. Crews found a relay operating the LTC had failed and blew a fuse. We currently have that relay bypassed, and we're hoping for a replacement. Water crews continue to look for water leaks on our systems and do valve and curb box repairs. Our electric crews are doing infrared inspections and continuing underground services as needed. And I would also like to recognize Melissa Schultz for 18 years of service and Vance Peters for 9 years of service this month with the utilities. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Bessett. We'll continue on with the Chief of Police, Mr. Schleter.
Thank you, Your Honor. The police department, as City Council may know, I sent out an email today. We are going to put together our first ever Citizens Academy, and we are offering to the City Council first. And if you're interested in attending, there'll be 7 sessions. We're going to try to do it on Tuesday evenings. And if you get a hold of me in the next 2 weeks or so to let me know if you'd like to attend, that would be great, because if we don't fill up all the spots, we're only going to open up probably 10 to 12 for the first session. We'll then open up to the citizens. It's our goal to actually do this once to twice a year after we get through this first time, running through it, see how it works, to open it up to our citizens so they get a good understanding of what we do on an everyday basis. We typically do more than write speeding tickets and parking tickets. And sometimes people don't think we even write those, so. But anyways, if you'd like to attend, get a hold of me as soon as possible, and we'll get you signed up for it and see what we all do. The other thing is, I'd like to welcome Brent Gosh, who is a part-time Amaral officer. He'll be starting with us at the New London Police Department He'll be sworn in at 10 a.m. on August 24th here at City Council chambers. If anyone would like to attend that, you're more than welcome to. And then he'll be starting his first day on patrol on August 27th, which is a Friday. So welcome, Brant, and sooner or later, we'll be back to full staff, hopefully, here. Thank you.
Again, welcome, Mr. Brandt. Thank you, Chief. Move on to Director of Public Works, Mr. Hammonds.
Thank you, Your Honor. Warner Allen, like Jason was saying, Jay Bessett was saying, Warner Allen project is coming along nicely. Paving will start next week, weather permitting. I'd also like to take the opportunity to remind residents to find alternate routes, more particularly during the paving operations. It's a big, can be a big traffic holdup. I've also been noticing a considerable amount of brush and yard waste along the curb lines in town. I'd like to take the opportunity again to remind residents that the street department picks up brush 2 times a year, once in the spring and once in the fall, slated around the October time this year. Residents also have the option to haul their brush and grass clippings to the collection site just south of the wastewater treatment plant. And we can enter the gate off of Wolf River Avenue because of the construction on Warner Allen. The hours of operation for that north gate off of Wolf River Avenue is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Hammonds.
Thank you, sir.
We'll move directly to the Director of Parks and Recreation, Ms. Arndt.
Thank you, Your Honor. The fall winter activity guide is in its draft stages right now, but it will be ready and out to the public before our next meeting. So just watch for local businesses and city facilities for that, and then into the schools during that first week of school. Then join the Aquatic and Fitness Center on their special themed $2 swim Fridays. This Friday will be an 80s decade theme, and then next Friday is Fiesta Friday. So take your kids down there for just $2. They can go hang out at the pool from 1:45 to 3:15 on Fridays. They have those special theme days. And then last but not least, the Recreation Department will be participating in the Volunteer New London Food Truck Rally over at the Chamber of Commerce this Friday, August 13th. I believe the event starts at 5:30. But sorry, I'm not sure of the exact time, but it's an opportunity for area nonprofits to promote the fact that they need volunteers. So come and talk to us, see where we need volunteers in our department and all the other nonprofits, and grab some really good food from some of the food trucks around as well.